The complete work of Swami Vivekananda, vol6, section 2. Light is everywhere visible, only in men of holiness. The Mahapurusha is like crystal glass, full rays of God passing and repassing through. Why not worship a Jiva Mukta? Contact with holy men is good. If you go near holy men, you will find holiness overflowing unconsciously in everything there. Resist not evil done to yourself, but you may resist evil done to others. If you wish to become a saint, you should renounce all kinds of pleasures. Ordinarily, you may enjoy all, but pray to God for guidance, and He will lead you on. The universe feels the universe feels only a small portion of heart, which craves for something beyond and above the world. Selfishness is the devil incarnation in every man. Every bit of self, bit by bit, is devil. Take off self by one side, and God enters by the other. When the self is got rid of, only God remains. Light and darkness cannot remain together. Forget the little I is a sign of health and pure mind. Forgetting the little I is a sign of healthy and pure mind. The healthy child forgets its body. Sita to say that she was pure is a blasphemy. She was purity itself embodied, the most beautiful character that ever lived on earth. The Bhakta should be like Sita before Ram. He might be thrown into all kinds of difficulties. Sita did not mind her suffering. She centered herself in Ram. Buddhism proves nothing about the absolute entity. In a stream of the water is changing. We have no right to call the stream one. Buddhists deny the one and say it is many. We say it is one and deny the many. What they call karma is what we call the soul. According to Buddhism, man is a series of waves. Every wave dies, but somehow the first wave causes the second. That the second wave is identical with the first is illusion. To get rid of illusion, good karma is necessary. Buddhists do not postulate anything beyond the world. Beyond the relative, we say beyond the relative there is absolute. Buddhism accepts that there is misery and sufficient it is that we can get rid of this dukkha or misery. Whether we get sukha, that is happiness, or not, we do not know. Buddha preached not the soul, preached by others. Buddha preached not the soul, preached by others. According to the Hindus, soul is the entity or a substance and God is absolute. Both agree in this that they destroy the relative. But Buddhists do not give what is the effect of that destruction of the relative. Present day Hinduism and Buddhism were growths from the same branch. Buddhism degenerated and Shankara lopped it out. Buddha is said to have denied the Vedas because there is so much himsa, that is killing and other things. Every page of Buddhism is the fight with Vedas, the ritualistic aspect, but he had no authority to do so. Buddha is expressly agnostic about God, but God is everywhere preached in our religion. The Vedas teach God, both personal and impersonal. God is everywhere preached in the Gita. Hinduism is nothing without God. The Vedas are nothing without Him. That is the only way to salvation. Sannyasin have to repeat the following several times. I, wishing for mukti, take refuge in God, who creates the world, who breathes out the Vedas. Buddha, we may say now, ought to have understood the harmony of religion. He introduces sectarianism, modern Hinduism, modern Jainism, Buddhism branched off at the same time. For some period, each seemed to have wanted to outdo the others in protesquenis and Hamburgism. We cannot imagine anything which is not God. He is all that we can imagine with five senses and more. He is like the chameleon. Each man, each nation sees one face of him and at different times, in different forms. Let each man see and take of God whatever is suitable for himself. Compare each animal absorbing from nature whatever food is suitable to it. The fault with all religion like Christianity is that they have one set of rule for all, but Hindu religion is suited to all grades of religious aspirations and progress. It contains all the ideas in their perfect form. For example, the idea of Shanta or blessedness is to be found in Vaishishta. The idea of Shanta or blessedness is to be found in Vaishishta. That of love in Krishna, that of love, duty in Ram and Sita, and that of intelligence of Shukadev. Study the character of this and of other ideal men. Adopt one which suits you best. Follow truth wherever it may lead you. Carry ideas to their utmost logical conclusions. Do not be cowardly and hypocritical. You must have a great devotion. You must have a great devotion to your ideal. Devotion not of the moment, but calm, preserving, and steady devotion, like that of the Chataka, a different or a kind of bird which looks into the sky in the midst of the thunder and lightning, and would drink no water but from the cloud. Perish in the struggle to be holy, thousand times welcome death. Be not disheartened. When good nectar is unattainable, it is no reason why we should eat poison. There is no escape. This world is an unknown has the other. Charity never charity never faileth. Devotion to an ideal never fails in sympathy, never becomes weary of sympathizing with others. Love to enemies is not possible for ordinary men. They drive out others in order to live themselves. Only a very few men lived in the world who practiced both. King Janaka was one of them. Such a man is superior even to the sannyasi. Sukadeva, who was the purity and renunciation embodied, made Janaka his guru. And Janaka said to him, "You are born Siddha. You are a born Siddha. Whatever you know and your father taught you is true. I assure you of this." Individuality in the universality is the plan of creation. Each cell has its part in bringing about consciousness. Man is individual and at the same time universal. It is while realizing our individual nature that we realize even our national and universal nature. Each is an infinite circle whose center is everywhere and the circumference is nowhere. By practice, one can feel universal selfhood, which is the essence of Hinduism. He who sees in every being his own self is a Pandit or sage. Rishis are discoverers of spiritual laws. In Advaitism, there is no Jivatma, it is only a delusion. In Advaitism, there is Jiva, infinitely distinct from God. Both are true. One went to the fountain, another to the tank. Apparently, we are all Dvaitas or Dvaitist as far as our consciousness goes. But beyond that, we are Advaitis. In reality, this is the only truth. According to the Advaitism, love every man as your own self and not as your brother, as in Christianity. Brotherhood should be superseded by the universal selfhood. Not universal brotherhood, but universal selfhood is our motto. Advaitism may include also the greatest happiness theory. So ham, I am he. So ham, I am he. Repeat that idea constantly, voluntarily at first. Then it becomes automatic in practice. It percolates to the nerves. So, this idea by rote, by repetition, should be driven even into the nerves. Or first begin with Dvaitism, that is in your consciousness. Second stage, Vishishta Dvaitism. I in you and you in me and all is God. This is the teaching of Christ or Christ. The highest Advaitism cannot be brought down to practical life. Advaitism made practical works from the plane of Vishishta Advaitism. Advaitism, small circle different from the big circle, only connected by bhakti, Vishishta Advaitism, small circle within big circle. Motion regulated by the big circle. Advaitism, small circle, expands and coincides with big circles. In Advaitism, I loses itself in God. God is here, God is there, and God is I. One way for attending bhakti is by repeating the name of God a number of times. Mantras have effect. The mere repetition of words, Jala, Jalangiman Chit- Chitti powers, are due to the repetition of the mantras, repetition of certain words with certain ceremonials. The power of astras and banas, that is missiles or arrows, etc., of ancient war were due to mantras. This is taken for granted throughout our shastras that we should take all these shastras to be imagination is superstition. To obtain bhakti, seek the company of holy men who have bhakti and read books like the Gita and Imitation of Christ. Always think of the attributes of God. The Vedas contain not only the means how to obtain bhakti, but also the means for obtaining any earthly good or evil. Take whatever you want. Bengal is the land of bhakti or bhaktas. The stone on which Chaitanya used to stand in the temple of Jagannath to see the image was worn by his tears of love and devotion. When he took sannyas, he showed his fitness for it to his guru by keeping sugar on his tongue for some time without its being dissolved. He discovered Vrindavan by the power of insight he had acquired through devotion. I will tell you something for your guidance in life. Everything that comes from India take as true until you find cogent reasons for disbelieving it. Everything that comes from Europe, take as false, unlike or until you find cogent reason for believing it. Do not be carried away by the European fooleries. Think of for yourself. Only one thing is lacking. You are slaves. You follow whatever Europeans do. This is simply an important state of mind. Society may take up materials from any quarters, but should grow in its own way. To be shocked by the new customs is the father of all superstitions, the first road to hell. It leads to bigotry and fanaticism. Truth is heaven, bigotry is hell. Truth is heaven, bigotry is hell. Next, concentration. Concentration is the essence of all knowledge. Nothing can be done without it. 90% of the thoughts force is wasted. Thought force is wasted by ordinary human being and therefore he is constantly committing blunders. The trained man or the mind never makes a mistake. Whenever the mind is concentrated and turned backward on itself, all within us will be our servants, not our masters. The Greeks applied their concentration to the external world, and the result was a perfect art, literature, etc. The Hindus' concentration on the internal world, upon the unseen realms in the self, and developed the science of yoga. Yoga is controlling the senses, will, and mind. The benefit of its study is that we learn to control instead of being controlled. Mind seems to be layer on layer. Our real goal is to cross all these intervening sh- stara, sta- stara, starat, intervening starat of our being and find God. The end and the aim of yoga is realize God. To do this, we must go beyond relative knowledge and go beyond children's of Lord as sleep on this plane or on that plane. The world is asleep to the eternal. The child or the children of the Lord are awakened in that dream. These are the sons of God. There is but one way to control the senses, to see Him who is really in the universe. Then and only then we can really conquer our senses. Concentration is restraining the mind into smaller and smaller limits. There are 8 processes for this restraint of mind. The first is yama, control the mind by avoiding external. All morality is included in this. Bijit, no evil. Injure no living creature. If you injure nothing for 12 years, then even lion and tiger will go down before you. Practice truthfulness. 12 years, the absolute truthfulness in thoughts, words, and deeds gives a man what he wills. Be chaste in thoughts, words, and action. Chastity is the basic or the best of all the religions. Basic of all the religions. Personal purity is imperishable. Next is niyam, not allowing the mind to wander in any direction. Then comes asan, posture. There are around 84 postures, but the best is that most natural to each one. That is, which can be kept longest with a great ease. After this comes pranayam, this training of breath. Then comes pratyahar, drawing of the organs from their objects. Then comes dharana, concentration, and third, next comes dhyan, contemplation or meditation. This is the kernel of yoga system, and the last samadhi, super consciousness. The purer the body and mind, the quicker the desired result will be obtained. You must be perfectly pure. Do not think of evil things. Such thoughts will surely drag you down. If you are perfectly pure, such light of eternity or infinite power. There is no limit to its scope, but there must be constant practice and non attachment to the world. When a man reaches the superconsciousness state, all feels all feelings of body melts away. Then alone does he becomes free and immortal. To all external appearance, unconsciousness and superconsciousness are the same, but they differ as a lump of clay from lump of gold. The one whose whole soul is given up to God, that has reached the superconscious plane. Next, the power of mind. The power of the mind. The cause becomes the effect. The cause is not one thing and the effect something else that exists as a result. The effect is always the cause worked out. Always the cause becomes the effect. The popular idea is that the effect is the result of the operation of the cause, which is sometimes independent and aloof from the effect. This is not so. The effect is always the cause worked out into another condition. The universe is really homogeneous. Heterogeneity is the only in appearance. There seems to be different substances, different powers, etc. throughout nature. But take two different substances, say a piece of glass and a piece of wood, grind them up together, fine enough, reduce them till there is nothing more to reduce, and the substance remaining appears homogeneous. All substances in the last analysis are one. Geneti- Homogeneity is a substance. The reality, heterogeneity, is the appearance of many things as though they were many substances. The one of the homogeneity, the appearance of the one has many, is heterogeneity. Hearing, seeing, and tasting, etc., is the mind in different states of action. The environment or the atmosphere of the room can be hypnotized so that everybody everybody who enters it will see all sort of things, men and objects flying through the air. Everybody is hypnotized already. Of the work of attaining freedom or realizing one's real nature consists in dehypnotization. One thing to be understood or remember is that we are not gaining powers at all. We have them already. The whole process of growth is dehypnotization. The purer the mind, the easier is to the control. The purity of the mind must be insisted upon if you would control it. Do not think, do not think co- covetously. Do not think covetously about mere mental powers. Let them go. One who seeks the power of the mind succumbs to them. Almost all who desire power becomes enas- en- ensnared, ensnared by them. Perfect morality is the all in all the complete control over mind. The man who is perfectly moral has nothing more to do. He is free. The man who is perfectly moral cannot the man who is perfectly moral cannot possibly hurt anything or anybody. Non-injuring has to be attained by him who would be free. No one is more powerful than he who has attained perfect non-injuring. No one could fight, no one could quarrel in his presence. Yes, his very presence and nothing else means peace, means love everywhere he may be. Nobody could be angry or fight in his presence. Even the animals, ferocious animals, would be peaceful before him. I once knew a yogi, a very old man, who lived in the hole in the ground all by himself. All he had was a pan or two to cook his meal in. He ate very little and wore scarcely anything, and spent most of the time meditating. With him, all people were alike. He had attained to non-injuring. What he saw in everything, in every person, in every animal, was the soul, the Lord of the universe. With him, with him, every person and every animal was my Lord. He never addressed any person or animal in any other way. Well, one day a thief came his way and stole one of his pens. He saw him and ran after him. The chase was long one. At last the thief from exhausted. Thus the thief from exhaustion had to stop. And the yogi, running up to him, fell on his knee before him and said, "My lord, you do me a great honor to come my way. Do me the honor to accept the other pen. It is also yours. This old man is dead now. He was full of love for everything in the world. He would have died for an ant. Wild animals instinctively knew this old man to be their friend. Snakes and curious animals would go into his hole and sleep with him. They all loved him and never fought in his presence. Never talk about the fault of others, no matter how bad they may be. Nothing is ever gained by that. You never help one by talking about his fault. You do not do him an injury and injure yourself as well. All regulations in eating, practicing, or practicing, etc., are all right so long as they are complementary to the spiritual aspirations. But they are not end in themselves, they are only helps. Never quarrel about religion. All quarrels and disputations concerning religion simply show that spirituality is not present. Religious quarrels are always over the husk. When spirituality goes, even the soul dries. Quarrels begin and not before. Quarrels begin and not before.